Barely 3 weeks passed between the end of last season and the time you announced that you would be coming back to Marquette for your senior year. What were those 3 weeks like, Marcus?
They were tough. It was definitely one of those decisions that, is going to help shape your future. So I wanted to be sure that I was taking the time to really think about it and, pray about it, talk to my family about it. And when it all came down to what was best for me, and that was, to finish out my career here at Marquette, first and foremost, get my degree. I wanted to be sure I'm making my family proud by, finishing out school, finishing what I started. I made a commitment here for 4 years, so wanted to be sure I was following through with that. Then also I just knew that there were a lot of other things that I could grow in terms of basketball on and off the court. So I just wanted to be sure that, I was maximizing my potential here at Marquette. Being a face in the community, that can still make a difference for one more year. But once I made that decision, I felt extremely proud about the decision I made, just because I know that I was coming back to a place where, the love has always been there.
Did you seek advice from a lot of other sources as well to gather as much information as possible?
Yeah, actually it didn't really take much for me to, seek guidance from people around me, Here at Marquette, the coaching staff, they have so many connections, in terms of the basketball world, and then also just their knowledge of the game. So talking with Coach Wojo, Coach Stan Johnson, played a huge part, and really kind of keeping it real with me in terms of, what I was to expect. Through that process, it was tough, but it was definitely something I needed to hear, needed to, discuss. And when we did, and we actually, came to grips with the fact that I was coming back, it was something that we all kind of just gravitated and celebrated together.
What are the basketball adjustments that you wanted to make coming into this year?
Being more of a well-rounded player, last year, a lot of the scoring load was on me, but I want to be sure that, our whole team, is very balanced. Very evenly distributed in terms of, the scoring and everything. So I know we have a lot of great guys, a lot of roster changes that we've had, a lot of new faces. So I want to be sure that everybody, is getting acclimated in our system. And, we're a dual threat team. We have so many great players that can do so many great things that I want to be sure that, those are all being utilized.
Team chemistry has been a big part of the off-season. What can you share there about how this Marquette team has grown together?
I have to say this has been my favorite team, so far. Just in terms of being able to spend time with the guys, having our foreign trip, I think that was, the best thing for us. To be able to get to know these guys on a deeper level, more than just basketball, I think was really cool. We had long bus rides, you know that, but long bus rides. So we had hours and hours of Uno games. That was like all we did throughout the trip. They were pretty intense Uno games. We still kind of keep track of scores and stuff now, but the chemistry's been great. I think the more that we are, acclimated off the court, the better we're going to be on the court. And I think all the guys have kind of bought into our culture and what we're trying to be about this year.
Going off the court, a national college basketball storyline last year was about your openness, talking about mental health care.
Yeah.
What kinds of responses have you received from those stories?
No, it's been great. A lot of people, have really reached out to me, just expressing their gratitude to, someone in my platform being able to talk about something like that. To give those people who can't speak a voice. And I think, a person in my position, if you're not using that platform, then you shouldn't have it. So the response has been great. I've connected with a lot of different people who, have been experiencing things that I have or other people have. And so we have that in common, and we're able to create and spark conversations and help each other through that.
You haven't forgotten about the Marquette community as well. Last year, among student athletes, you helped form a new community. Tell us about that.
Yeah, myself, along with a fellow student athlete, Nick Singleton, we started the Fellowship of Christian Athletes chapter here at Marquette. And, it's continued to grow from last year to this year. I think that's, part of being in a Jesuit university. The freedom that we have to express ourselves through our faith, I think is something that's unique as a school. And, to be able to do that as a student, to start something with another student athlete, and, to have other student athletes come in and be able to fellowship and be comfortable with each other and be vulnerable with each other, I think is really cool.
Is it fair to say, Marcus, that between that initiative, between your outspokenness about mental health, that you want to create community for people to come together on any number of issues?
Definitely. I think, you can't do anything in this life alone, so I think the more that people know that you're not alone in any situation, the more comfortable they're going to be. So I think me as a student athlete, you have to create those environments, you have to be able to create those situations where people feel comfortable. And so FCA, talking about my mental health, different committees I'm on, I just try to, assert myself to be sure that other people can be comfortable in their own skin. And I think the way that myself and other people at Marquette have done it, I think we've created an environment to where they can feel comfortable, be themselves.